But the committee made some decisions that pissed a few places off.
Yeah, it did. We will start right there with the teams that got left out after the bracket came out and potential reasons why they are mad. The biggest one being Notre Dame. Why? Because they were in the bracket basically the entire college football playoff. Every single playoff rankings that came out, Notre Dame was in the playoff. So who should they be pissed at? The committee, because they were ranked in there the entire time until the one that mattered. Then Miami jumped them, and they didn't drop Alabama. Alabama was the only team that didn't drop after losing a conference playoff game. Who else? BYU. BYU had a great season. They were 11-1 going into the Big 12 conference title game, with their only loss being to the number 4 team in the country. And then they lose in the Big 12 championship game to that same number 4 team in the country. They go to 11-2, and they drop, unlike Alabama did. And then Vandy could be mad. Clark Lee said he is not mad. They only have themselves to blame. They're a 2-loss SEC team, with their only losses being at Alabama, who's in the playoffs, and Texas, who was just outside of the playoffs.
At Texas.
At Texas, yes, both at Texas. So those are teams that's some of the teams that could have been pissed, who were right on the bubble, who did not make it.
Yeah, not just could be pissed. Those first two definitely pissed.
Very mad.
The Irish have been on a full-on, what are we doing here? Pete Bavacqua, athletic director for Notre Dame, who was on our show on Friday talking about it all, he told us on Friday, he's like, hey, the College Football Playoff Committee has basically already made up their mind about us in Miami. We've been ranked ahead of them literally since the first rankings. They were actually ranked, Miami, I think, was ranked 18th.
Yeah.
And they were ranked 10th or something like that. Notre Dame was. That was from the beginning. So you're talking about 8 spots. So I think Notre Dame in their mind was like, the committee's already made their decision on us in Miami. This isn't really a conversation. Notre Dame on Friday, Pete Bavacqua told us, we need to be more so being compared to Alabama, who's seemingly going to be an at-large here and maybe get one of these more bids. You start looking at our resume, you start looking at their resume, talk about how they play. Alabama had a tough streak. They had like 5 straight top 20 teams, and they played good ball through there. Then struggle against Auburn. Then they get their absolute asses kicked by Georgia in the SEC championship. So Notre Dame's thinking to themselves, we might have a chance to jump Alabama.
Put a little barrier there.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of a chance. And then all of a sudden Sunday comes out and it's like, actually, yeah, Miami jumps you guys and you guys are out. And it's like, what? What even happened here is how Notre Dame's doing it, for good reason, by the way. College Football Playoff Committee, if you listen to it, I never thought of that until Bavacqua said that. He was like, well, what's the purpose of all the other rankings? They've already had this conversation between us and Miami 100 times. They've already done this, obviously, clearly. Then they said, well, actually, it's in a cluster. When you get in a cluster, then we have the conversation. Well, it's like we've been in a cluster the last 2 weeks now. So when's the cluster come? When's the sun come? So Notre Dame, not happy about it. On that note, I think Alabama should be in. I think they're a very good football team. I think Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think Georgia is very, very good. I think they are one of the very, 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 very good teams, which once again leads back to how many of these teams can actually win a national championship. If we go to 16, are we just adding more teams that won't be able to win a national championship? Because each year it feels like there's only like 4. But on that note, everybody's pissed and could be pissed. Tulane and James Madison getting 2 of the 12 spots in the Division I college football playoff.
That's got to be fixed.
Is a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. Now, I would like to let them know, congratulations.
Without a doubt.
Okay, that is it's not on Tulane or JMU.
No.
That this is how this is. This is how this shit is supposed to go. Congrats to them. But on that note, it's like, man, BYU, they got to be so pissed. Texas Tech, they said it. Kalani Sitake came out and said, we lost to the best team in the country. Everybody else is going to learn that, basically. He said, if we were to play again in the college football playoff, we think Texas Tech, that is the best team in the country, is what they described. They lose to them twice within a matter of 4 weeks or whatever, and they don't even get – now, they were out at the beginning. They were never really in because nobody knew how many Big 12 teams were going to get in there. BYU was going to have to steal the bid from Texas Tech with the way they had College Football Playoff Committee kind of set up over the last few weeks. But does that matter? None of that really matters. I think it's a weird process to get to it.
Very weird.
And then Vandy, Clark Lee, I appreciate him high-roading it. Basically, that's what Clark Lee did. Clark Lee just said, I'll high-road this thing. I think South Carolina did that last year.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple other teams that were like, we could certainly make an argument if we wanted to, but this is on us. We need to do better next year. Have you heard this protest? Not do any bowl games? The CFP committee doesn't care.
No.
Nope. Why would they care? Yeah, why would they care? You're right.
No, I know everybody says it's an ESPN thing. This is them protesting ESPN because majority, I don't know if all the bowl games are on ESPN.
Majority.
I'm not 100% sure. But it's like, all right, so you're protesting ESPN and not doing the bowls? Is that what you're doing? That makes sense, I guess, if that's the way you look at it. Is ESPN the ones making the decision? Yeah, they have a lot of influence. It's like, all right, well, how come anytime one person from the network says something, you all label it ESPN says this, ESPN says this. Because I was sitting on College Game Day whenever there was a Lane Kiffin discussion happening a couple weeks ago, and all the reports I saw was at Game Day saying this, ESPN's pushing this and driving this. It's like, I was sitting in the middle of that fucking stage, okay, and said the complete opposite. So how come my words at ESPN don't mean anything? Oh, because I'm not in the CFP committee? Well, none of them. So I don't know.
Sure.
It's an interesting dilemma about how. And once again, this show is licensed ESPN. I do work for ESPN and for College Game Day. I understand that ESPN has their hands in a lot of college football pots and everything like that. But if another network had it, it would be the same, I guess.
Any network wants Notre Dame, though. Any network would want Notre Dame in. That's what doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I would understand if you say, hey, if Notre Dame was in, hey, you get it. They're a brand, man. Rudy, the movie, all of it. They bring eyeballs. They travel well. Like, I understand money-wise why you would want them in there.
Yeah, so they want the SEC in there because they think that's big money. Well, they spent their money there. Well, then why wouldn't they want Notre Dame when they can't get Notre Dame any other time? They can only get Notre Dame in the playoffs. Can't get Notre Dame any other time. Notre Dame has its own TV deal with NBC because of how powerful it is. We started the college football playoff at Notre Dame last year.
Yeah.
Literally launched the entire thing at Notre Dame. Why? Because ESPN could get a Notre Dame game. Like, that is how I think if the ESPN people, Jimmy Pitaro's kid goes to Notre Dame, I think.
There you have it.
He's the head of fucking ESPN. So it's like, I was watching that whole thing unfold, and I'm like, okay, all right. You don't think we want to go? Because I grew up in the thought that Notre Dame gets all the perks because of how popular they are.
Yeah, sure.
Like, hey, people take care of Notre Dame because of this. They get ranked. Like when I was at West Virginia, Notre Dame was getting ranked like higher than us. And it was like, we would smoke that team if we were to play. And then I was basically told, like, it doesn't matter though, because Notre Dame's going to be in here because they want to be conversated about. They want Notre Dame to be a part of it. So then now it's like, ESPN didn't want Notre Dame in there. It's like, I've been told the complete opposite. Like, I thought that is what we were literally looking for. And once again, we had Pete Bavacco on Friday to state his case. So, like, I am a fan of Notre Dame, even though I pick against them in a lot of games because I don't think they can win them in the games that we're talking about. Not this year. I think their team was very good this year. I picked them against Pitt, obviously. But it's like I everything that I heard about what Notre Dame does and then what everybody's saying why ESPN didn't want Notre Dame just kind of doesn't align. So I don't fully understand that. But I will say this. I think it's bullshit they dropped as many spots as they dropped.
Yes.
Without even playing again. Like, I'm not saying they're in the right or in the wrong by not being happy about it. I think it's a complete opposite. But I just don't like the argument like ESPN does this, ESPN does this, ESPN does this, just because like somebody who works on ESPN says something. If we were to just take somebody's take from any other network and just classify the entire network as being that would be a wild thing. But I guess ESPN has their hands in a lot of it, so it has to happen. But just know there's people in there trying. Like, we're trying our best to, for the good of ball as opposed to just being a political networking, money-grabbing venture, which, once again, if it was that, you would think Notre Dame would get in. But not BYU. I think BYU.
Top 4 seed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just, the arguments were kind of interesting to me when I was reading them online. I'm like, so you're saying they're all money-hungry ratings grabbing, but then also they put Tulane and JMU in?
Well,
it's going to happen every year no matter what, though, right? Like, there's never going to be a year where there's not a bunch of drama, at least with 2 or 3 teams, right?
Every time. If you go up to 16, which I think is kind of D-But's
32. We get the same shit March Madness. Like, first team out, it's always okay. It doesn't matter how many teams you go up to, whatever the metrics are for teams to get in, somebody's going to have an argument. This year was obviously Notre Dame, Miami, and those teams that were bunched up, but it'll always be an argument. Back in the day when it was, you have 3 teams who had great seasons, and then 3 or 4 or 5 teams, and then there was 2 teams who were picked to go and play in whatever BCS championship, and everybody else just had to play in their big bowl game. That just was what it was. Then we moved to 4 teams. It's like, okay, now we have a legit champion, but now it's basically turning into NFL playoffs, and I think that was the difference between the NFL and college football. But I get it. It's money, and there are big games too.
Yeah, huge games. Here is what the current CFP ranking would sit if it was 16. SC would get in. Arizona would be pissed. Michigan would be pissed. Virginia would be pissed. Tulane already in, obviously, because top 5 highest ranked champions. And then Houston. And I think it would be a little less loud, which I think if you're trying to get away from.
We could just say, shut up.
The loudness, you could certainly get away from that. But go ahead,
Well,
Con,
respectfully, they can't do the conference champion bullshit anymore, okay? Like, if you're in the Big Ten and
they wanted to save conference championships. Remember, that was the decision. We don't want conference championships to become absolutely nothing. And now, if you ask the SEC with everything that happened, or if you ask the Big 12 with everything that happened, might add, they'll say conference championships don't only They not only don't mean anything, they actually are bad for your team if you're to play in one. So they were trying to save it with the conference championships. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in general, like the big ones that matter, they will matter. You'll get the bye if you win. You'll get the bye if you prove it all year long and you're in the conference championship. But when it comes to Tulane and JMU, respectfully, like, they don't really have any business going up against Oregon. Like, you're telling me that as a watcher, and again, we don't have any affiliations to any of these schools. None of us went to any of these schools that are currently in the college football playoff, aside from AJ with Ohio State. Like, Notre Dame at Oregon would be probably the game of the first round if they were to have gotten in. Like, I think all of us would rather see, and just a layman football fan, would rather see a great game than something like that. So when I say the conference championship bullshit, I mean, like, hey, the ones where, like, you have to put in the top 5 conferences, like, no, that's not how it should work. The big conference games, yes, that should happen, because those are the teams that are relevant that are going to be in it at the end. The Texas Tech, the Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State, Bama, sure. Like, those are the conferences that matter, because those are the conferences that carry college football. The rest of those conferences, they respectfully just don't. Like Tulane and JMU, I get it, but again, no one's turning on the CW at 2 o'clock on a Saturday to catch those games. Like that, it doesn't matter. It's just completely irrelevant. And we can't also act like this is college basketball, where a 12 seed or one of these low teams is going to make a run. It's not. It'll never be college basketball. Like what Tony said about the recruiting is very cool. The difference between the number 1 recruiting team and the 32nd recruiting team, that gap has closed. But guess who isn't in the top 32 of recruiting? JMU and Tulane.
Something awesome happened on Thursday or Friday of last week where Miami and Notre Dame put their swords down against each other and just started attacking Alabama. That was fun to watch.
Well, there was a time, though, where the ACC was just attacking Notre Dame.
That was happening, too. Yeah.
And Pete Pavakwa, AD of Notre Dame this morning on Dan Patrick, was like, I can't believe they did that. We are like one of their biggest business partners. Just an all-out assault on us? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it sounded like coming out of Bavakwa.
Oh, that's what he said. What did he say? Like it was.
We were mystified.
Permanent damage.
Permanent damage
awesome.
to the relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to fuck us? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Love it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I also enjoy how active he has been in this entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
We know him, so there's a little bias, I guess. I'm not represented by him or his agent, which we learned on College Game Day.
Yeah.
We were all learning that in real time on who was whose agent. It was kind of a fun little game, man.
Yeah.
It was kind of a fun little game. I actually, yes. Me, I'm not. Me neither. And then Des. I think I've been pretty rude through this entire thing to this guy. That's basically what Des said in there. It was crazy. But I like the way Bavakwa's been operating. You can tell he loves Notre Dame. Not that these other places don't, but it's like the Notre Dame people coming together. It's a good time for a fight. Every once in a while, you need a good, rally call to kind of bring everybody together. Not saying it's a good outcome, but I'm saying it has been I like good positive sign of force, that the Notre Dame fans and faithful have shown.
It's also cool that he's carrying the shield. Like, you don't expect Marcus Freeman to go do any of this bullshit. Like, it's almost as if he kind of looked around like...
No, you would expect Marcus Freeman to do this bullshit, is what you mean, right?
No, I don't know if I've really ever seen him do interviews in general.
Let's keep Marcus Freeman
clean. That's what I'm saying. I think
a baby face.
I think it's a conscious decision to keep Marcus Freeman clean, because it's like Coach Cristobal was on TV right over there. There's been a couple other coaches that have had to speak. Feels like Notre Dame has been like, we don't need the most likable fucking coach we've ever had in history out there, right? Nope. Who was going to do it then? Bavakwa was like, I'll fucking. What do we need? We're better than everybody? You got it. Where do you want me to go? Everywhere. All right, fuck it. I'll do every single show. And that is literally what he has done.